Aloha, I'm Aja Eyre, and coming to you with the Maui Pono Network weekly update. This is the week of January 22nd, 2024. And I apologize, I'm in my car downtown Kahului, so let's hope nothing crazy happens behind me. But let's get started. So I'm sure that you've seen the news. Olowalu has been designated as the temporary site for the debris removal from Lahaina. So this is from the fires in central Lahaina, and that debris will be moved to what was once a dump or a landfill, and was cleaned up, and now it's back going again. So this has not been a popular decision in the community, and it's been very challenging, and it's been as was well put in the county council meeting, it's a lose-lose, because everyone who's been involved in trying to get that debris off the ground in Lahaina, especially before a major rainstorm washes it away, and to also allow the process of rebuilding. They've pushed for a site that's close enough by that the trucking is fairly easy and that it can happen quickly, and a place that could be accessed, right now, and was already owned by the government, and all these things. But unfortunately, that is in the backyards of people who live in Olowalu. It's been a very, very challenging thing. So we're taking the debris from one community, tight-knit community, and putting it into the backyard of another tight-knit community. So very, very challenging situation for the entire community. Where it stands right now is that Olowalu is going to continue to be the temporary site for this debris removal. They have already started moving things. You might have seen the videos, the burritos that we talked about back in October. As soon as they dump it, those burritos are destroyed. They weren't meant to be held long term, not even longer than a second after that debris is dumped. It's just meant to help in moving the debris from the burn site to this landfill. And there are great videos and pictures of what it looks like from the air, and I'll get to that at the end. But let's talk about what we've learned so far. So one of the major takeaways from where we are right now is that the community is really mistrusting of the federal government. Not that this is a surprise, but even more so. And in this case, the federal government has really thrown our county government really under the bus here. So the mayor and the county council has been wrapped up in this. And from what we know right now, and again, a year from now, we might know more, we might know better. The mayor was strong-armed into making this decision that this be the site by the federal government, the Army Corps of Engineers, and FEMA, saying, we'll pay for it, but you got to do it soon, and this is where it needs to be. And so he made that decision, and then the county council were the ones out on the street getting information from the community, holding meetings, hearing testimony, and the community felt like the county council had some say in this. But in reality, they didn't, because the decisions had already been made. The only decision they had was to allow access into the site, which there would have been ways to get around that anyway. So it's been a very messy political situation for the county council and the mayor, and the federal government hasn't really had to take much of the heat for that. The county council did vote to allow access, but the other thing that they did in that last meeting, at the last county council meeting, was to change all of the wording in the resolution and the ordinance that this be they took out everything that said this was permanent. So the county council was really making an effort to do what they could to mitigate long-term damage. And the question now, I think, on everybody's mind is, where do we go from here? Because we know that Olowalu is not a good permanent site. It's not a site where we want the stuff at all. But it sounds like, first of all, the community doesn't really have a choice that it show up there. And second of all, they do have a compelling argument that there's not a better place for it right now. So a couple of things that we need to really, really be fighting for from here is, one option is to divide up the material that's going in. So taking the ash where most of the toxicity is. So maybe that first scoop out, my house burned down about 11 years ago. And when we got to the site, we had ash, and then we had larger debris. And that first scoop, when they came to clean, that first scoop is just the ash. And that's what we're hearing from experts that are there too. That first scoop is ash. Maybe those first scoops, that ash needs to go somewhere where it's not going to leach into the ground, or it's not going to get blown by the wind, or that it can be better protected, or or somehow at the Olowalu site that they divide up the ash from the larger debris materials, things that aren't fully burned, the concrete, the rebar, the downed trees. I mean, things that haven't been turned to ash. So dividing that up, maybe even taking that toxic ash and putting it into containers, or even just making a spectrum of what is the worst. So if this is highly likely to be toxic, we're going to put it here. We're going to take better care of it, instead of just throwing everything into the same pit, which is what they're planning on doing now. So that's one thing that you can push for if you want to make a call to the mayor's office or your county council member. That's something that has been proposed by some community members who have science understanding and have talked with experts in this. And so they're pushing for that to divide up the material. Another thing that we really, really need to watch is that the permanent site, the movement be made on moving towards that permanent site and it not be Olowalu. So there are some promising prospects in the Central Valley near the current landfill. There's an old quarry. There's some other land there. For many reasons, these are better than a near shore site like Olowalu, especially given the geology and the geography of that site. So we need to continue to push for that. If you can, make a call, send an email, and do it. Maybe just do it every week, every month, to your county council member and to the mayor's office, that we need to get that site planned and started right away. And everyone will breathe a huge sigh of release once we do. And the nice thing is the county council pushed to also say, as soon as that permanent site is open, we're going to start trucking stuff there. And so we don't have to put everything into the temporary site and then take everything to permanent site again. That doesn't seem efficient. Another thing that you can do is you can follow sites that are following this, not just the news sites. I like to follow Living Earth Systems. There's a farmer named Eddie that lives right at the mouth of the Olowalu site, and he's really good about keeping people up to date on what's happening up there. And he tests he's testing the stuff that's coming down off the mountain and things. So if you are on Instagram, you can follow Living Earth Systems. You can also go to the website Maui Community Investigation. It doesn't directly deal with the Olowalu site, but it takes a look at the entire picture, the entire story of the fires in Lahaina, and has some good information, community-based. They're out doing interviews and taking photos out in the interview. And finally, the really, really important thing that you can do is that you can pay attention to this year's elections, because a lot of the reason that we're in this mess from so many different angles is because who our leadership is. And it's important for everyone to really take this to heart and spend the time to research the candidates, research the issues that are coming up. 2024 is an election year for our county. Now, if you're considering running to be a county council member, or have issues that you want to see on that ballot, go ahead and reach out to us. Maui Pono Network does a really good job of supporting candidates. Whether you totally align with us or not, we'd like to see people running. We'd like to see more people in the community feeling empowered to get themselves onto the ballot and to run a successful campaign. It doesn't take a lot of money. I've done it before. Very little out of my own pocket. I really tapped into community resources and community help on just putting together a good campaign, and you can do that too. It's not scary. It's really fun, and it's an enjoyable thing. And we're going to start announcing here on these weekly updates to people who are announcing their candidacy. So look forward to that, and we're hoping to see some positive change here in the county. So again, just stay focused. Let's keep our energy up. There's discouraging news, but there's also hopeful news, and we hope that you are feeling empowered and informed. Thank you for joining us this week. If there are things you'd like to have us cover, if there's other topics that you'd like to hear us investigate and talk about in these weekly updates, let us know. Reach out to us on Facebook. You can go to our website, mauipononetwork.org. Aloha and have a good week.